Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Sorry, just speeding through my words. Uh, Properly so for this review, since we're talking about a Wes Anderson film. Um, and obviously that film being Asteroid City, which was written, directed, produced by Wes Anderson. Um, and stars, of course, a plethora of notable names: Tom Hanks, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, who does the narration, Edward Norton, who plays the writer, and a bunch of other people. Willem Dafoe, Steve Carell, just a bunch of people. And the story is shown through two different perspectives. Mainly, what it is about a writer played by Edward Norton, who comes up with the idea for a stage play, and the stage play is called Asteroid City, and um, and through the building of said play, we see the play as it is, in color. So in the color scenes where we are in the desert, that is the play itself. Whereas when the scenes where we get to go to scenes that are in black and white, that is the real world, and that is, we see the actors, versus the characters themselves. So, um, and the film makes a point of doing so by presenting the varying perspectives of what it means to be lonely, and what it means to be depressed, and what it means to bear um, such a melancholy, type of attitude, and said points of where the origins of said things come from, and it makes that point, I would say, fairly engaging, and I would say fairly entertaining, but I would also say that it is also fairly hollow. Um, I didn't find it to be as detailed as, say, his other work. Like, I think that Grand Budapest Hotel is just really a treat. I think easily his best work. Um, and I think that what I loved about Grand Budapest was that it used its style to create more substance. With this, I feel like the style is just there for stylistic purposes. It's not there to really add much weight to things. It's just there because, well, it's a trademark. It's just what Wes Anderson does, but it doesn't add much more to the overall thematic qualities of the film. Um, for another, I feel that, and this is just my own personal issues with Wes Anderson, is that his wordplay, I feel, sometimes can get um, a bit much, because there's points where the characters are speaking at a rapid, fire like this, and you're trying to catch up, and there's certain points, certain details that they're bringing up, and um, and sometimes it kind of gets lost within that. And when you really do listen to the wordplay, and all, like, again, it's clever in terms of its words and how it uses them, and and I think that all the performances seem to be like, they all seem to be having a boatload of fun doing this, because everyone does the deadpan thing that Wes Anderson uses within his films. I would say he uses this ability fairly well, or at least that the performers are utilizing it very well within the circumstance. Um, so, because sometimes it's like, you wonder, in the context of Wes Anderson films, it's like, does it always have to be deadpan? Like, can we have people sometimes, doing, some more heavy lifting and stuff like that? But for this, it felt, like there was, again, it didn't feel awkward. It felt like, okay, this is right. Um, but my issues with Asteroid City are that it just doesn't have much of a. It's funny because the film itself is about searching for the meaning of life, but they're searching for more meaning. Hence, this underlining of ideas of depression and loneliness, and it hits on that point, like, just aggressively. Like, if you just don't pick it up at any point, then it's like blatantly obvious. But um, but the issues that I have is what else it's offering, which is not much. With other films, I picked up on other ideas and other suggestions, and that style, again, was able to promote more room for interpretation. With this, um, it just continues to submit to this one idea, and just further drive this one idea home. And I just, I picked up on it fairly early, and the whole time I was watching it, I was like, okay, I got that. Yes, I got that. Yes, I got that. Now, it isn't without laughs. I mean, I definitely laughed a handful of times. There's, again, because of its wordplay and just the utilization of these deadpan performances, it worked, and um, it did bring about some chuckles and some genuine laughter. Um, but I just wish that it had more to say. I wish that it had just a little bit more to say, a little bit more meat to the bone. Um, and it's funny because previous Wes Anderson films, like Grand Budapest Hotel, for example, um, like ultimately it's a film about loyalties and about, um, you know, and the power, the friendships that the friendship within such thing. Um, but there's more detail in Grand Budapest within such one idea, because the thing about Wes Anderson films is that they're not complicated films. They're films that have an off-putted style to them, but they're not, you know, like complicated ideas to figure out. Um, but what makes them rich is how they utilize these one dimensions. With, like I said, Grand Budapest Hotel, they peel the layers of the one idea of what it means to be a friend. There's the loyalty. There's this. There's that. There's this. There's that. Um, and something with like Isle of Dogs, for example, where you talk about a trauma and abuse and the path to acceptance. All, again, these layers within the central idea that is trauma. Um, with this, it attempts to do the same approach with the base idea is loneliness and depression, and it tries to peel the layers. But the problem is that when it does peel for those layers, it's not bringing up anything new. It's just bringing the same ideas over here and not bringing anything else underneath. The closest that it gets to is with the children. I would say is that's the closest where I saw that there was an added layer to the ideas at play. This idea of like origin points, and seeing how maybe we're blind to how other people are feeling because of our own insecurities and stuff like that. Um, but but it just wasn't enough to feel for me. It wasn't enough for me to feel to feel as though it was a worthy investment. I just felt like I was kind of listening to the same tunes being played. And speaking of which, I think that this, like, talking about other like aspects, I think the score was really great. I think that was one of my favorite aspects of the film. Um, I'm not sure who did the score, but whoever did the score, I think it was great. Um, I appreciate Wes Anderson's style. I do. I've grown to like his style. I was kind of not really a fan of it, but after seeing more of his films, I became more of I became more of a fan as time went on. Especially when I saw Grand Budapest Hotel, I was like, yes, that's where that style is really working, and that makes sense within this context. In Asteroid City, it makes sense, but in terms of a thematic quality, in terms of what it's about, it just doesn't um, it just doesn't ring as well, or mean as much as his other films do. There are layers to the other films that he has done. I would also say Fantastic Mr. Fox also has those layers there as well. Um, with this, I just felt it was it. The problem is that the movie makes it known only that it's one dimensional. With the other films, they do tell you that it's one dimensional, but they find ways to show you the underbelly. With this film, it doesn't wish to show you its underbelly. It only wishes to show you what's on the outside and not more of what's on the inside. So, um, I still think that there are marks. Like I said, I think that it has some good humor. I think that the performances in general are all good. And stylistically, if you're not a fan of Wes Anderson's style, then quite frankly, you shouldn't watch this film, because I mean it's just more of that. But I appreciate that as well. Um, I do like the utilizations of, like, the color, because technically speaking, it is sound in terms of like some kind of thematic qualities, but in terms of just the overall narrative, It's just lacking severely for me. I just feel like it's fairly hollow. Technically, it makes sense, but narratively, I think that there's more room for um, for deeper discussions, especially on something um, as as common and as as a interpretive as the idea of loneliness. So I'm fairly divided on it because um, I do like the technicalities, and I do like the concept, of how it approaches this idea, but it just emotionally just didn't resonate as much as his other films did for me. Um, so that's my thoughts on Asteroid City. Yeah, I wish it was I just wished it was better because it had the potential to be actually um, to be a lot more, but it just didn't it just didn't mean as much to me at the end of the day. So, but you guys know your thoughts on Asteroid City if you guys chose to see it, and that's gonna be it for me, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we got more reviews down the pipe, so just be on the lookout for those. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.